As we continue to see more coronavirus cases here in Florida, families are dealing with a lot of anxiety, both the parents and the children. Joining me today is Shantala Boss, a licensed mental health counselor. Shantala, thank you so much for joining us. The coronavirus is a new conversation for a lot of families, and sometimes it's hard to know how to talk to your children without causing too much stress or anxiety. So for the parents out there who haven't yet had that conversation or are continuing that conversation, how should it go?
Well, like we talked about earlier when we were discussing age, it's really important the age of the child. So when children are super young, they may just think of it as an extended vacation, or maybe that everyone's taking more cleanliness practices. So it's a good time to teach them how to wash their hands, just like how to have good manners, how we recycle, or how we pick up trash. These things are going to be implemented more now than ever, almost kind of part of our norm. So teaching them that, teaching them cleanliness, and that we're just practicing that. So the really young ages, preschool, kindergarten, that's really all we need to talk about. If they are learning a little bit more than that, say they're 5, 6, and they're seeing things online, then we need to find out what they found out. And we need to go from there, answering questions only as much as they ask, not giving them more information than they need. And then as they get older, of course they're going to know about the coronavirus. It's everywhere. So how do we meet their needs? What do we talk to them about? Asking them questions, asking them what they know. A lot of kids right now, more than anything, I think the change in their daily life and their schedule is what's going to throw them off more than anything. And my concern as I'm seeing more kids is that they could fall into some form of a depression or anxiety just because they aren't having the same social outlets, they aren't having the same activities that they had before. There's a lot of anxiety in the air, and so not necessarily that they're afraid of the virus, but that as a result of all that's going on right now, they're feeling that stress and anxiety.
And a lot of times children look to the parents for those cues. So if a parent is very stressed, the children can pick up on it. What are some signs that you can let parents know when a child is overly stressed or overly anxious? And what are those signs? And then what should parents do?
Well, first we want to know every child is different, so their history. You want to know that your child's history. If there is a history in the family of illness or someone in the family who's sick or an elderly person, they are more susceptible to stress because there's going to be more stress in the family because of the situation. So if there's any trigger regarding that, or if they've had past anxiety about getting sick, then you're going to know that they're more at risk and you need to watch them more closely. Signs you want to look for is social withdrawal, which is difficult because we're all kind of withdrawn,
Right.
but more than ever, whatever way they socialize with their friends, they're not doing it as much. Maybe they're having physical symptoms, stomach aches, headaches, and they're complaining a lot about not feeling good or not happy. So withdrawal and just kind of a change in their overall demeanor as related to whatever's going on around them and their change in routine. So what we want to do is we want to keep things as normal as possible, which is super difficult, obviously, because of what's going on, but we can implement other things like maybe going outside more than we used to, having activities or being more creative than we were in the past, and kind of growing from there as a family because probably more people are going to be home. So those are some kind of interventions to keep kids busy and kind of their minds going.
Now, it's also important to let them know that it's okay to feel a little stressed. It's okay to feel a little scared. That is normal. But when it comes to maybe seeking additional support outside the family, maybe even going to see a counselor, when should parents do that?
Well, if they have a history of anxiety anyway, and this is kind of continuing that, and you're not seeing any relief, every day asking questions, very fearful, not being able to do what they usually did throughout the day, then maybe they do need to seek some professional help. Obviously, we know that every child is going to have a change in their demeanor and their routine, and it is normal to be somewhat anxious. But if it's beyond a few days and it continues to stress them, because really this is something that affects parents and adults more than children, so children should not be super anxious about this. If they are anyway, that's a sign that they probably need some form of intervention.
So really leading by example, if parents present a calm front to this, children do respond to that. But also what I'm hearing is just keeping the lines of communication open.
Definitely. Keeping the lines of communication open and trying to base everything on facts. So we'll hear things all day long, but we don't know if they're reality. So we need to check our facts and not hype anything up until we know what's really going on, because everyone has a different idea of what's happening, a different version, and that can just make us more anxious. So parents can really work on being aware of what's going on before they relay that to their children. If they hear something, making sure they know exactly what is happening.
Such good advice. Shantala Boss, licensed mental health counselor. Thank you so much for going in depth with us.
Thank you for having me.